Hey creative friends, welcome to Tracy Bautista Color. I am excited to give you a little sneak peek at my new mixed media inks. These are mineral wash inks and they are matte and they are awesome. I've been playing and experimenting with the recipe over the last few years, and I had been using similar ideas in my own work, and I have now bottled it up into a collection. This is the first collection of the mineral inks, and they are matte. So you can see on the label, all the labels are hand painted. You can see the variation of color that you get with the inks. So it's natural for sediment to occur because the pigments sink to the bottom, but if you just shake and swirl a little, like so, it's ready to go. So I have some swatches underneath here. These are the colors. There's a neutral base that you can mix with any of my handcrafted inks and or paints. And then I have a few pre-mixed colors from the Winter Botanicals, the Luminous Winter Botanicals collection. So there's this beautiful pink color and a little bark color and an evergreen. I love the way they play and interact with everything. And then there are two inclusions, and these have usually some type of shimmer in them, and they're meant to be mixed with any of the inks, so you can change the inks into a metallic ink. So here are just a little sampling of what that ink looks like. I don't know if you can see the actual sparkles in there. There we go. But it's mixed with the evergreen here and one with the bark color there. And then I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. This is on watercolor paper, 140 pound. So this is the brown ink with actually one of my previous collection water media inks dropped into it. And then here is some of the evergreen with a little hint of the shimmer on top. And I just was kind of mixing and playing, but I love the colors that you can get when you start layering these on top of each other. So a lot of these were monoprinted just by drizzling ink on my surface, my marble slab here, and picking up with the paper. And then I have a couple of other papers. This is a glossy paper. It's actually made for alcohol ink, but you can see the beautiful backgrounds you can get with the mineral inks. So let's see if there's anything else underneath here. I love the serendipity of this because when you look at this, it looks almost like mountains, and you could turn that into an additional background. So a lot of these are just samples of what the paints look like when they're layered. You can also do washes and sprinkle a little water on it to get some interesting textured backgrounds. So these are part of my INKatelier subscription, but there are a few limited edition kits that will be available in the shop. And I have a couple of other fun evergreen sets that will be in the shop. There will be a landscape set, and possibly I might bring back my prism, which is a rainbow set of inks, so you get all of the colors of the rainbow. So I hope you enjoyed a little peek into the new Luminous Winter Botanicals ink collection. I have been making my new mineral wash inks, which I'm loving. The matte texture of them. So many fun possibilities. I have been mixing color here on my palettes, and I think I finally decided on the label. So I was painting the label originally, but you can kind of see here, maybe see those green ones. And I didn't like how it looked, so I started doing some printmaking. Basically just lifting off the color off of the board, and much better get to see kind of the variation of the color as it dries with different amounts of the pigment in there. So I'm testing it on, I think I'm going to use those labels. I also tested it on this paper, but I'm not sure yet. This is my normal ink label that I use, or I shouldn't say normal, it's my newer ink labels that I've been using, and it looks like it'll be okay, but I'm not sure if I want them to have this on there or not. I think I like just the very simple patterns. You can really see the patterns on these, so I think I'm probably going to go with those. And this is for the pink, and it shows variations, like if I wanted to mix some of the colors, so you can kind of get an idea of what happens when you mix some of the colors in the collection. And then I've been playing with just different background techniques using two of the colors. This is the beautiful fuchsia pink color, along with one of my inks from a previous collection, and then there's that kind of mahogany, well, it's not mahogany, it's more like a what color is that? It's like a raw umber color, kind of a little muted because of the mixture of pigments that's in it. So these are all of the watercolors that I designed. So you can see some of them are a little shimmery, not all of them. Some of them are a little bit more flat in color. And then they are very opaque, almost like gouache-like when you use them straight from the palette or the ceramic tile. And then you can get some really beautiful washes, like you can see here. This one, where my thumb is pointing, is a little bit more of a wash of the colors. Here, just a variety of the luminous winter botanicals colors that I painted a little sprig. And then here are more of the mineral inks. So you can see they're very matte, and that's intentional. They're great to use with all types of mixed media, especially my pigment bars. If you have some of my pigment sticks or pigment stones, they make a really awesome background for that. And this is painted with I believe it's a 1 inch or 1.5 inch flat brush, and on watercolor cold press. So that is a little behind the scenes peek into my new mineral wash inks. I hope you have fun exploring and playing with them. If you missed the collection for the luminous winter botanicals, these inks are also part of the INKatelier collection that comes out 3 times a year, and I'll be sharing more about that soon. Here they are inside of a Hobonichi Weeks planner. I can't wait for you to experiment with them, and I'll show you some samples on a variety of papers. So we have, actually this is all cold pressed watercolor paper, or actually most of it is cold pressed watercolor paper. And you can see some of the inks have a little shimmer, actually just one of the inks. And then with the inclusions, Shimmer ink, you can actually mix it and get a shimmer glaze over the top like this one. So this has the beautiful green color, but you can see the shimmer on top. So that's layering 2 of the inks on the paper. And you can do a little bit more wash, kind of lighter colors. And then done some just layering on as the colors are drying to create these fun swatches and backgrounds. So as you continue to layer, you can get some really great textures as base layers. So then you can use these. I can see that this would be a great like landscape background. And then I experimented also with pulling some prints of the inks onto this glossy paper. This is made for alcohol ink, but you can use them also with my mineral wash inks. And then finally, I'm going to grab one of my mini sketchbook journals. And then this is a, what is this called? Art Creations? I forget. What is this journal? Yeah, Art Creation. And this has cream paper in it and has some of the green ink and then layered with some of the Shimmer sheer inks and mixed in. So here's some of the pink. Let's take this out. And then I was playing with different mixed media, watercolor pencils, water media pencils, and water-soluble pencils. Also my pigment bars and wax pastels work awesome on the top. So you can see how matte the color is, and that's intentional because I wanted it to have just a really light texture, but also it makes such a great surface for any type of pencil, marker, crayon, and my wax pigment bars. So here are variations of the pink ink, and then these are all the watercolors and some of the mineral inks right here, those large swatches. So that is a little sneak peek behind the scenes at the new Luminous Winter Botanicals collection. And you can see right here a little inspiration board of the colors. So I create these inspiration boards prior to mixing and making the collection, and it gives me kind of the North Star of what the colors are going to look like. And then as I am designing the collection, I am testing and swatching, and so these are the watercolors and some of the inks in this collection.